Alright, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Allison Cruz, and I'd like to welcome you back to the relative safety of our first sanctuary here in Bayonetta Origins. Previously on the game, we did enter the Avalon Forest against the not-so-well wishes of our teacher Morgana, only to find ourselves at odds with some of the denizens of the forest. To protect ourselves, we then summoned a demon who assumed the form of Cereza's beloved felt cat Cheshire, and well, the rest was history. We've learned to fight, we've learned to cry, and we've learned to love with this thing, despite it only being episode 3. But this time on the game, we're going to spend a little bit of time kind of learning what the blueprint of this entire experience is going to be all about.
Hey, look over there!
Before them stood a large wolf. Its snow-white fur shone pale silver in the moonlight.
Avalon Forest, the white wolf guide you.
Cereza was captivated by the wolf. It seemed almost not of this world.
Hey, wait!
Well, I don't know about you, but something tells me that's probably the white wolf we're looking for, right? And that's not ominous in the slightest. But with that, welcome to the first proper area of the game, Jade Hill, where we are going to be introduced by many of the concepts this game has to offer, starting, of course, with the illuminated paw prints leading the way forward. So following them might help lead the way, you don't say. But luckily the game is nice enough to go ahead and just give us plenty of bushes to rummage through and, you know, pick out all of the unicorn horns out of and baked geckos and whatnot, and a couple of divergences in the path leading to this chest, which I highly recommend picking out because it contains a blast cocktail used to create a shockwave stunning nearby enemies. This game does have a weird tendency to sort of overwhelm you with a sheer number of enemies, especially later on in the game where Cereza doesn't really have much of a way to defend herself with, and really helpful to have on hand in dire situations. But as we progress forward, we notice a distortion.
The world before Cereza seemed to warp and bend. She blinked hard to no avail. Could this be a fairy trick? Cheshire was losing patience with his hesitant companion. Come on, we've still got that wolf to catch.
I'm getting ready. Just give me a second. What is this?
As soon as she took a step inside, she felt as if the breath had frozen in her chest. All around her were sights strange and terrible, as if she had been dragged into a waking nightmare.
I'm fine. It takes more than this to scare me. How am I supposed to find my way in here?
Suddenly, Cereza's magic brace began to glow. What could it be?
And so, in classic Luigi's Mansion 3 fashion, we have the ability to dispel illusions while in these warped realities. You don't have to do this too often, but anytime you see Cereza's magic bracer go off like that is a perfect time to go ahead and do that. Just set it free. At which point,
The light from the brace revealed things Cereza was unable to see before.
Does this brace have the power to dispel illusions?
Kind of looks like that from here, Cereza. So aside from the odd illusion dispel that you do once every 5 hours, not really a lot to do here until you find the break in the distortion.
There's something here.
Upon close inspection, there appeared to be distortions, as if the air itself had cracked. Equally confused, the girl and demon exchanged a glance. That wolf is just up ahead. Cheshire's indecision did not last long, but try as he might, he was unable to open the cracks any further.
Try using magic to open it? Come on! We have no idea what's lurking on the other side.
Cheshire gave a mocking snort at Cereza's cowardice.
I am not making excuses! All right, fine! Okay, Cereza. Just like you practiced.
Once their eyes had adjusted to the brilliant light, what lay before them was a sight unlike anything either had seen before.
Cheshire, I have a feeling we're not in Avalon anymore.
Side eye, Cereza. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the first of many Tirnanog mini dungeons, something that I would say are very similar to Breath of the Wild shrines, just maybe not quite as involved. You do have your fair share of combat and obstacle related challenges to go through in these, and completing them are generally used to clear the world of the warped distortions and also get some pretty nice upgrades. So of course you have an arcane lantern here to save at, and beginning with eerie light, it seems as though we have a very peculiar mechanic to deal with. This barrier can only be destroyed should we also destroy the accompanying light bulb. So let's head over here and toss Cheshire up to do all of our dirty work. There we go. And with that, ooh, man, I do love the sound effects in this game. They did a really bang up job with that. Not much else to do here, so let's approach the chest.
Is this fairy treasure? They'd be hopping mad if I stole it.
Oh, that was so adorable. But with that now in our possession, as we walk up the steps, looks like it's time for a bit of combat.
Bogey on your tail.
And with that comes the advent of countering, one of Cheshire's special abilities that, in all honesty, I don't find myself using all that often, especially beyond the beginning of the game. It does use magic, and it has a pretty generous timing window. Just keep in mind that some attacks cannot be countered, and that's kind of where its usefulness ends. So for these guys who like to hang out at far range, just go ahead and whip back at him, and he's good. Countering does use magic, at which point crescent clusters are going to be very, very nice for you to pick up. So we'll head over here and be careful because, there we go. Cereza can't really do a whole lot in battle right now. You can see how slow her gauge is filling up just to bind a single person. So we'll just kind of stay out of the way a little bit, let Cheshire just slice and dice. Especially because this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Not too shabby. Also, I love that the barrier that was put up for that combat is just right in front of another barrier. So for these moving light bulbs, you are going to want to bind them in order to destroy them. Otherwise, it's not really gonna work. And obviously we are going to need to find a second one to destroy, which is just so conveniently placed clear over here, at which point we're gonna have to separate here slightly so Cereza can go first for the chest. And again, you are going to want to collect every single one of these you find, because most of the time, you're gonna find some pretty nice stuff in it, like another blast cocktail. Nice. And it should go without saying, but Cereza cannot destroy the bulbs, try as you might, so we'll go and swap out. And it's points like these where if you're separated, you can't reunite under any circumstances, so don't even think about it. Nicely done. Okay, so that should just about do it for our first Tirnanog. Not too bad, and this is probably one of the more lengthy ones that you have to worry about. Now, usually at the end of these things, you're gonna have a very nice chest at the end and be bestowed upon with...
Yes!
You got the Vitality Petal, a small jewel shaped like a petal. Collecting 5 of these will increase your vitality by 1 flower. And seeing as how fluffy Cereza is, and you know, Cheshire too to a certain extent, you're gonna wanna grab as many of those as possible. For now, we head to the end to destroy the heart of the Tirnanog. And because this was a bit of a longer sort of mini dungeon, we get this lovely little animation of the planets aligning, and normally you don't have to go through these lengths, but for now, let's enjoy it with a pulse and a scratch.
You're the boy from my dream.
Center of forest. Waiting. Help me. How?
Okay. I just need to follow the white wolf, right?
Destroy 4 elemental cores. You can do it. Follow White Wolf.
Chapter 3. The first elemental core.
They had returned from the strange world. The forest was just as they had left it, except not quite. It seemed that destroying the device at the core of that rift somehow disrupted the illusion, revealing the true path forward.
And so, for completing our first Tirnanog, it clears a lot of the illusion in our immediate vicinity, and we can now see where certain collectibles are, although some would probably argue that using the map to get to them is way more stressful than it's worth. But wait, what lies ahead?
They spotted the white wolf. Without a moment's hesitation, the pair gave chase.
And if by giving chase you mean we ran in the opposite direction, then you would be correct, dear narrator. So, in my opinion, it's generally a good idea to just go and explore the area you just cleansed of corruption, even if it means pitting yourself up against an area you will not be able to access until literally the end of the game, such as this. So, hence the Metroidvania element. There's going to be a lot of turning around and coming back, and very few instances of fast travel in a convenient manner, but I'll try my best to kind of keep it relatively concise and not do too much of it, especially in the early goings of the game where we have no abilities, no way to deal with any of these obstacles. So for now, we will follow the paws across this blue vine. Yeah. Don't really know how I feel about this. And before we actually head up the path, there is one last thing we're gonna grab, and that is a journal. One of my least favorite types of collectibles in the game to grab because it is just so out of tune with what's going on with the lore and world building that it just is kind of annoying to read unless you have all of them. So we'll be paying very little, if any, attention to that and ignoring the ice barrier for now. As it stands, we have a new sanctuary to get to, and it's right over here. And, speaking of new collectibles,
A small glade of otherworldly beauty opened before Cereza. This dark forest held secrets yet. Cereza relaxed, ever so slightly.
Aww, isn't that adorable? Yeah, those are usually pretty nice to stumble upon, and they're generally pretty tucked away in the depths of the game. It's kind of insane, the lengths that it expects you to find these things, but what we find for now as we, find our first instance, yes, of Umbran Syrup. This will grant temporary invincibility and increased speed casting for Cereza. And now we can concoct more on our own should we so desire. Trust me, those will help you out in a pinch pretty nicely when you need it for some of the trickier Tirnanog. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, God, isn't this cozy? You can't tell me you wouldn't want to sleep here. Well, off to the left is the leafy nook, but I want nothing to do with that for the time being. As we explore over yonder, there are certainly going to be some things here that I'd like to take care of first, starting with this chest surrounded by light. Now, employing the logic we used in the Tirnanog, we're going to need to bind these light bulbs and in quick succession destroy them so that we can unleash the barrier. There we have it. Inside is our final potion to use in battle, the Demonic Mist. This will give Cheshire unlimited magic energy, and we can concoct more at our very leisure. So that one's not necessarily as useful. There are some situations where sure, it'll be good, but for now, we won't worry about it too much. Over here, this stone monolith type thing actually leads to the final area of the game. And we're not going to worry too much about that now because we have another one of these. With that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Prison of Thorns. An incredibly appropriate title for the challenge at hand because enemies can only be damaged while bound. Trust me, this is actually a lot more annoying than it sounds, not taking into account the fact that we are an incredibly low level with slow as hell casting, and it is overall not a fun time to do until you have a bit more experience under your belt. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still completely doable, so I say, let's take a crack at it. So we'll start with this one right here, and you want to be careful because if you're comboing too hard, you actually knock them out of the bind. And that is not a fun time because, well, at least we get some butterflies to be spawned, but we still have a second friend on the loose there. So he needed one more hit. Isn't that lovely? Don't you love it when that happens? Try that here. You can get them in single binds. It's just, you can see how crazy they go. Come on. Ooh, beautiful, beautiful. Now we have a couple of these things to worry about. Yikes, don't like that. All right, get over here, get over here. I should probably focus on these ones. Jesus, both of you? Okay, let's try this before you teleport away. There we go. Okay, not aim for the other guy also, that'd be great. Oh, here we go, let's finish you off. Or we can just, oh my God. I deflected it into his friend while he was still bound. That's amazing. Okay, and I knocked him out of it. That's fine. We got it. That was worth it. There you go. Yeah, I'll concede, it was a little messy, but you know what? Those usually will be, especially this early on. All right, let's go and claim our prize. It's another piece of petal. Nice. And because this was a relatively short stage, just that one fight, we don't get the whole rigmarole of the planets aligning, leading us to our final destiny. So, let's go ahead and blow this popsicle stand for good. And I'm pretty sure these combos stay the same. It's usually 1, 2, and then 3. Let's get out of here, shall we? And there we have it. All Tirnanog and Jade Hill have been vanquished, and points of interest are now marked, even though you probably can't get to most of them. We won't worry about that now because the map for this game is actually insane. Cool, so definitely more optional than you would expect it to be, but that's fine. Before we leave this little end game area though, if we climb up here, we get this, which will eventually lead us to other things, but there's also a chest. A couple of treats inside, and yeah, we'll definitely be coming from up here at another point. For now, we will pay it no mind and make our way to the leafy nook. But there is some notes here that we can grab, I suppose, if I must. Thank you. Can't wait to not read that at any point in the future. Also, we have a vine growing out of this fungus. I don't think I would trust that all too much, but you know what, Cereza, you can do your thing. Oh no. We're gonna have a fun time, aren't we? I can feel it already. So let's go jump down. That was a mighty leap. And over here we have a trap. You want to be kind of careful with these because they're not fun. You can get rid of it like that, but otherwise, ooh, a tooth. Yes, I love the teeth. All you have to do is keep touching it and it will give you cavities. It's a great time for all. Okay, so let's climb up here. I think there is a few things we can grab, including this man. You. That's it. All right, enemies don't usually just spawn out of the woodwork like that, but when they do, it's kind of funny. All right, just get some roses and leave. The ones you want to be careful for are the ones hidden in pots and bushes. Those are this game's versions of like random encounters. Ooh, over there, that is going to be good for us, I think. But it'll be a minute before we really delve into what might be hiding there. So we can drop down over here. Oh my god, are you joking? All right, like I was saying, every so often you are gonna get bum rushed from these dudes camping out in the middle of nowhere with very little, if not any stakes, and it's just a minor inconvenience, if I can say that much. I also have a hell of a lot of health. Are you good? Thank you. So I'll probably end up cutting out a lot of these random battles because they happen a lot more often than you'd think. And I'm probably going to cut out the end of the Tirnanog animations too, because those eat up a bit of time. Now, if you head over here, you can get a really nice sneak preview of the end of the game of sorts. It's pretty ominous and foreboding, and just know we'll be able to head over there, you know, eventually. But now we will continue our exploration because the leafy nook is actually really, really small, and there's not a whole lot to it. So that's something I like about it. But if we head off over in this direction, we'll finally come face to face with the leprechaun itself. I'm not even joking. Sir, how dare you? Well, time to take care of this guy. Again, you can just kind of hug mode Cheshire him into it, but otherwise he's gonna keep on setting down those traps, and it is extremely annoying to get caught in them. Not the end of the world or anything, but still. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. All right. So yeah, those guys are a little inconvenient. Now over here, this is a bit of a look towards the future, and we can't do much about it, especially with all of these springy mushrooms aside, but those gates can only be lifted by Cereza, so we'll go ahead and just put that on the back burner for now, just like everything else. And if we climb up here, I'm actually curious, is there anything of decency up here? I think there is. It's a treasure. Ooh, and this one has a black sheen to it. Doesn't really mean much, but it gives us a lot of experience. Yeah, I'll take it.
Cheshire, over here!
There you go. All right. Well, if we keep on going this way, I think there might be another Tirnanog just ahead, which is kind of insane that they give you so many mandatory ones early on. Yeah, there it is.
Those cheeky fairies! What's their problem?
It's because they know you're weak. Cheshire patronized Cereza.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Calamity, Cheshire. Probably one of the most underwhelming Tirnanog of them all, because I think all we have is a fight and this fancy looking door we need to do our little witchy moon dance in front of to open. It's cool, but was it necessary? I don't know. Alright, thank you for putting me back here. It's now at this point where we are going to be contending with the mixing and matching of enemy types. Some are more annoying than others, obviously, but if you get caught in a trap, it's not too big of a hindrance. All you have to do is approach that character with the other and set them free. Also, enemies can also set them loose, so it's probably just a good idea to get them all out of the way with Hug Mode Cheshire and then just bully the hell out of everybody else. That's usually my main philosophy when it comes to the combat in this game. Just be a big old bully. Everything will usually turn up daisies for you in that circumstance. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and have Cheshire finish this guy. Thank you. And then, yeah, use Cereza more or less as a distraction. It seems kind of random who these guys decide they want to target, but that's fine. They perish all the same. Man, not too bad. But that is everything to this calamity of a Tirnanog. Like I said, fairly underwhelming.
Cool!
But the prize we get is another piece of petal. I love it. Right, so this ending section of the Tirnanog is always going to be essentially the same, aside from the cutscene coming out of it. So we're just gonna go ahead and skip it. Unless you guys want to see it 30 plus more times, be my guest. Man, I don't know what it is about those little piano flourishes, but they just get me. Also, believe it or not, that is Leafy Nook's final Tirnanog, so all 3 of the other collectibles are now on the map, but a whole lot of good that's gonna do right now. Over here we have another stone we can't really do anything about, so let's bust through the bramble and give ourselves another little moon dance in the correct direction. Also, we are right next to another sanctuary, the one for this area, and it's kind of interesting that it feels like it's so close to the last one, even though it really isn't. This'll, I think, just drop us back down. Not really any reason to do anything about that. But should we decide to go through a decaying trunk of a tree that once was, we get another treasure chest. Ooh, yes. And not bad, you know, I will take it. Nice little shortcut if you really want to go back, but let's proceed forward and have a little talk with Morgana.
In a nearby grove, there was a place illuminated by moonlight. As she approached, the magic brace in Cereza's wrist began to glow.
So I have finally found you, Cereza.
Morgana?
Cereza blinked in disbelief as the ghostly figure of her teacher appeared from within the moonlight.
Thank goodness you're safe. When I realized you'd gone to the forest, I was beside myself with worry. But really, Cereza, to enter the forest despite all my warnings. You even made off with my magic brace. Just what were you thinking?
Although this was only a projection of Morgana, her scolding somehow managed to be even more intimidating than the genuine article. Cereza could only hang her head.
I am looking forward to a thorough explanation once you're home safe. But I'm afraid escaping Avalon Forest will not be easy.
Morgana's expression was grave. She explained how the fairy's magic turned the forest into a labyrinthine trap, one in which Cereza was currently ensnared. This ancient enchantment was so strong, even Morgana herself could not easily break it.
For now, all I can do is support you from afar. I will begin researching ways out of the forest. You just find a safe place, and try to stay alive until I find a way to save you.
Don't worry, Morgana. Look! I was able to summon a demon of my very own.
Is that... You summoned a demon into your stuffed toy? Cereza... Well, it will have to do. If you are able to wield that demon, your chances of survival will increase greatly. This forest belongs to the fairies. However, if you search carefully, I am sure you will find objects that will help you develop your magic abilities.
What about these sparkly things? I've picked up a bunch of them since I've got here.
Yes, that crystalline structure is a stable source of magical energy. If you feed it to the demon, it may awaken some new powers.
The light of the moon began to wane. With it, Morgana's visage grew faint. It was as if the forest itself conspired to impede their plans.
Cereza, listen well. Demons are weapons which we witches wield, not friends to be cuddled. Remember to treat them as such.
The remaining moonlight faded, and Morgana disappeared. Cheshire was in a foul mood.
What was that? Morgana is my master, and I will not have you speak of her in that way. I feel bad for worrying her, but I don't get why she's so overprotective. I mean, I summoned a demon and everything.
Cereza wished that just once Morgana would tell her she did a good job. She had already forgotten Morgana's scolding.
Well, back to chasing the white wolf. If we get that power, even Miss High and Mighty Morgana will sing our praises. Oh yeah, those little sparkly things. She said they might help you grow stronger. I wonder what that means. What is this?
In one corner was a rock, polished to a shiny finish. This would make a good substitute for the mirror she used when training.
Hey! Without Morgana breathing down my neck, I might be able to get in some good practice. Worth a try.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, here Cereza and Cheshire can learn new skills. Cheshire's skills are to the right, and he learns them by using Avalon drops, as we've already established. So the game is going to force us to go ahead and buy this first one, which is the Charge Strike. Not too bad, and something you find yourself using pretty often. So,
Cheshire, here you go.
why is it so adorable? Now, Cereza's skills are to the left, and she learns skills by using onyx roses, as we've also established. So, lots of different varieties of moves we can use here. Eventually, we'll come across these special items known as Infernal Fruit and Moon Pearls in order to get stronger abilities, but until then, we can only buy with what we have, and those are extremely out of the way. Now, the thing that I really want to purchase first and foremost is this way. Extend Cheshire in the direction of your movement to slightly increase your speed. Let's do it.
Here, have some.
So this is a skill that is not entirely necessary, but something I find myself missing very much. So we'll get that out of the way. And as for Cereza, there's a couple of things we can do here. Her abilities aren't nearly as good as Cheshire's. It's mostly just time saving and whatnot, but I will buy some actual pockets for this dress.
Does this work?
She's so proud of herself. All right, now as for our main ability, I'll probably just go with spell time reduction, and that'll probably be for the best for right now. Dodge rolling is really nice too, but we're gonna be a little sparing with our abilities. There we go. I won't show that animation every time, just maybe once we get to a new sanctuary. But yeah, you can definitely get some really nice things here and really change your playstyle. Oh. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to call it quits.
We need a rest.
Let's go ahead and stretch out all the little anime bits from in between our bones and access our newly acquired Tirnanog menu. This is where you can either retry or play a time trial of one of the mini dungeons we've already come across here. The main point to completion of these things is dictated not only by getting to the end, but by getting all of the chests. There are only, I believe, 13 time trials to do, and you don't have to be the best at them, but they give you some really, really nice rewards, especially early on. And I might actually do those off screen, but we can take a quick look. The only one we have right now is the Eerie Light Trial, and for beating it in 45 seconds, you get 400 Avalon drops. So yeah, they are extremely doable, but you have to get gold on every single one in order to get the Cereza in Wonderland outfit, which we'll probably end up showing off. And here we can retry any of the others we've had. You can see the chests on each of them to indicate whether or not we've collected them, and it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, Won't be able to double dip there, but we'll be collecting all of those as well. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this episode of Bayonetta Origins. Join me next time as we step foot for the first time into Lake Nimue, which I am probably butchering the pronunciation. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you then.
Yeah.